What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA DFS First Look podcast. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on Twitter at Wise_Take, on Instagram and Facebook at WiseTake without the underscore. On YouTube, youtube.com/WiseTake, Twitch, twitch.tv/WiseTake. We are everywhere and ready to take over the DFS industry. And we just want you to come along for the ride and be a part of the WiseTake Nation movement. We are a premium DFS content provider. More importantly, we are a premium DFS community designed to make you a better DFS player. So come rock with us, come rock with the nation. Decided to put the podcast on YouTube for the first time, or at least going to try. We'll see if I am successful, if I'm able to. Hopefully I can make that work. Obviously it's the night before when we do these first look shows. Pretty late, still sweating out some of these games. Almost had a really big night, almost. Jordan Clarkson did awesome. I had him in a bunch of teams. At the end of the day, he went for 46 DraftKings points, so can't be that upset, but he fouled out of the game. Man. Can't do that. Can't be fouling out of the game. You know what was wild? It was Ron Dallas Jefferson in the 20 entry. I know in cash he was popular in the 20 entry max, the $4 20 entry max with 12 grand up top. Ron Dallas Jefferson was 20% owned, starting against Minnesota at 3,200. Strange. Very strange that he was that low. All in all, should still be a pretty good night. Won't be as good as it could have been, which should have been. It should be a pretty good night. We'll see where we finish. Another day, another dollar. The WiseTake Nation. Chris Boucher ruined a few teams, not gonna lie. I'm sure he ruined it for some of you guys as well, right? How many got ruined by Boucher, Mr. Chris Boucher? It's not his fault. He didn't get the minutes, really. Anyway, we've got a 5-game slate for Tuesday. I love it. I love the slate sizes, man. We haven't had too many of those 12, 13 gamers. I should stop before I look ahead because I don't know what lies ahead. But we're approaching the All-Star break. We are building that momentum strong. And we got a 5-game slate to work with. We got some good games too. Right out of the gate, Chicago visiting Washington. The Clippers visiting Philadelphia. San Antonio, OKC. It's like a niche market. It's like good in its own way. Portland and New Orleans. Boston, Houston. Literally just every one of these games with fantasy viability. I guess you could argue that San Antonio OKC would be the least attractive, but even within there, I'm sure we could find a few good plays. We'll go position by position, starting off with the point guard, James Harden. The hard one. 11-4 on DraftKings at home against Boston. Obviously, not going to say we don't want any Rockets, but the Boston side of this game is going to be the more appealing one, right? They're the ones being paced up in a points plus situation. The Rockets making it a point to be the fastest team in the game. And on top of that, Boston can go small. So this game could end up being really fast if both teams just decide to run. James Harden, certainly interesting and curious to see what his ownership is. Everybody's healthy for Boston. I think they are getting everybody back. I believe they're getting Jaylen Brown. They'll have Marcus Smart, Kemba, Tatum, Hayward. Everybody should be playing. So, full house for a team that's supposed to prioritize defense. We shall see. Damian Lillard, 10-3, continues to just do dirties. And now he's in a pace-up spot against Nolans. The Nolans Pelicans, who may be without Brandon Ingram. Russell Westbrook, 9-9 against Boston. That's a pretty good price. He's been playing well. He's been playing well on a consistent basis. He's not triple-double Russ with this team, Not like he was. Not saying he can't do it, but he's obviously not as likely to do it on a night-to-night basis. But he is taking a ton of shots, and he's been scoring. He really has. Not taking threes. It's not his game. But 18 for 33, 17 to 20, just driving to the hole, making it work. I like it. 9-9. Ben Simmons against the Clippers. Going to be a competitive game. Ben's been on a roll, man. And he is playing monster minutes. Alec Burks and Robinson, I was curious to see how that would intertwine, curious to see how that would affect, if any, situation. And so far, we don't even know where the hell Alec Burks is. Kemba Walker at 7-7 is pretty interesting. He's gotten just 30 minutes in each of his last 2 games, trying to ease him back from he was a little banged up, right? But I don't know. This could be the game here against Houston, against Russell Westbrook, against Harden in Houston. Maybe they unleash him once again. And we know Kemba's got massive upside. We know he can get up to the 60s. This would be one of those spots where he could. But even if he can get us to 50, we can roll with that. I don't know. Me and Kemba got a rough history. I always root for the guy, man. I was a big fan of his at UConn and all that stuff. And never really treated me right in DFS. Chris Paul at 6'8", seems pretty low. He's been balling, right? Out of his 38, 41, 28, 50 his last 4 games. And they decided to lower his price to 6'8". Not exactly sure why, but certainly going to entice. When you look at the other guys, you're paying for name almost, right? Like Chris Paul in the OKC game. Maybe people aren't as excited. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe they're enticing you to play him by making him cheap. Not quite sure. Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday. How about Drew Holiday? I skipped right over him. 7-9. With Ingram out, we expect his usage to go up. I don't know if it's going to be as high as it was here because Zion's expected to play, and Zion had missed that game also. Zion is the one that I think benefits with Ingram off the court. But we'll have to see. CJ McCollum, 6'4", is interesting. Everybody is. Even Lou Williams, you can make a case for, and everybody's healthy except for Pat Bev. So you got Kawhi, you got PG, but Lou Will, obviously more than capable, especially in a close game scenario. Even Marcus Smart, a situation where they're going to need him for his defense. You got to worry about the foul trouble, of course, but they're going to need him for his defense against the guards in a pace-up matchup. And then there's even value. Kobe White at 4,200, interesting value. Ish Smith is only 4,800. Ish Smith has played 30 and 29 minutes. I know he didn't play well against Memphis, but the minutes are there. The price is good. It's a deep slate, man. I mean, we're just at one position, and you can make a case for literally every single one of these guys. I'm gonna have to see on the early look show later on when we start pulling up some projections. Curious to see what the separation looks like, because it looks like it's going to be a little tight, at least for the studs and the guys up top. Shabazz Napier, 21 minutes against Memphis, didn't play as well. 0 for 7 from the field. Did manage to get 6 free throws and make all 6 of them for 17 DraftKings points, along with his 8 assists. I mean, at some point, I'm expecting him to kind of overpass Hitch for the starting job, but we'll see. How about San Antonio with that sneaky shit? San Antonio got that sneaky shit. I think, what was it? Kawhi Leonard got scratched, I think. Sneaky. Patty Mills is 3,100. I know he's been bad, but he's 3,100. That is kind of crazy. I'd be very surprised if I don't know. It's just crazy that he's 3,100. Maybe there's a reason. The hell do I know? Going over to shooting guards, Bradley Beal 9-5 against the Bulls. Not going to face a ton of resistance. One thing I did notice is that he only got 34 minutes against Memphis. Now, that game was obviously played at a slower pace than I think everybody anticipated, but it was a little worrisome that he didn't get that 38 he's been getting. Levine at 8,200 coming off a good game in a very good spot. I'm fine with him. The Bulls side of the ball, even more attractive, obviously, because the pace-up spot. DeRozan's down to 7-2. That's a really low price for DeRozan. He had back spasms, so he missed. We'll see if he's in. Maybe he's sat for the back-to-back. I'm not quite sure. If DeRozan is out, we're obviously look at LMA, who ended up being a pretty damn sneaky play today, right? But or yesterday, whatever you want to call it. Late for me, early for you. You know what it is. I think, but DeRozan at 7-2 is very tempting. Very tempting. Josh Hart got 30 minutes in that last game with Ingram out. Didn't play particularly efficient. 3 for 9 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. Can we talk about Furkan Korkmaz for a second, though? This guy's been a freak. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, the peripherals aren't a big thing for him. He's just hitting threes like it's his job. But it is his job. So I guess you could say the man's doing his job. This is what a man that does his job. This is what his game score should look like over the last 2 games. Is he going to continue to do his job? I don't know. How does he do it? I don't know. 4,500 for Mr. Furkan. If you wanted to do that dirty. JJ Redick balled out. He balled out 28 minutes in Ingram's absence. That secured him some more minutes. I'm fine with him too. We have some interesting value plays here. We got some stuff to work with. Gary Trent, how about him? Closed over Melo. Has been playing monster minutes. And he's another one, man. He's hitting threes, getting steals, 4 steals in each game, 4 rebounds. That's a little worrisome, the steals and stuff. I don't like to rely on that, but this is a fast-paced game. But it's pretty much just 3 and D for Gary Trent right now. 3 and D. 3 and D. Josh Richardson is 3,800. I mean, he's like done nothing. 15 minutes against Memphis, 6.5 DraftKings points. 19 minutes against Chicago, 7.5 DraftKings points. But for namesake, if we were to hear that they were going to raise his minutes, I mean, I'd be interested to probably get some shares regardless, at least a little bit. At least a little bit. Alec Burks is 4K. Burks will for sure play in Tuesday's game against the Clippers, according to Coach Brett Brown. So he will for sure play. So maybe he does affect Ben Simmons' minutes a little bit. How much is he going to play? Man, he's 4K. You got to tell me this shit. I guess we'll have to harass the beat writers once again. Small forwards, Kawhi Leonard, 9,300. If this game is close, obviously him and Paul George have some value, right? Paul George is only 8K. And he was, I mean, it's not his fault he didn't get there against Cleveland, man. The game was a ridiculous blowout. He only got 24 minutes. He was on his way. 40 DraftKings points in 24 minutes. So I would lean towards Paul George. And I always will as long as he's cheaper. So Brandon Ingram was held out of practice. But Alvin Gentry is hopeful that he's in. So I'm all this talk about Ingram being out. He's not actually out. Just looking for an edge somewhere, that's all. Just looking for an edge. If Ingram is in, he's interesting against Portland. I think the price isn't like a must. But I definitely think it's worth a look. Gordon Hayward, 6,900. They've lowered him a little bit with everybody healthy. I don't know where he falls, but somebody's going to step up and ball. Robert Covington, 5'2", disappointed me, man. He did take 10 threes, though. So there are going to be those games where he just erupts. And if you notice, he did end up with 27.75 DraftKings points. Not what we were looking for, but he played 35 minutes. I'm still going to continue to play him, especially in games that are even faster paced, but I'm interested. Marcus Morris Sr., what did you do? Got 22 minutes in a blowout, so maybe he would have played more. But the usage wasn't bad from what we see. Obviously, with Kawhi Leonard back, we would assume that's going to change a little bit, but we will see. Chandler Hutchison, 4,600. You know, this guy's usage is actually pretty solid in his last game. He gets boards, as Kawhi Leonard would say. He's a board man. You know, ceiling, I don't know. It's going to depend on how he shoots. Doesn't always shoot well. Actually hasn't shot very well. But the usage has been pretty good. Against Philly, he was particularly inefficient. 2 for 9 from the field, which led to him going for 22.25 DraftKings points. But, I mean, even if he had half them shots, score would have obviously been a lot better. So, just a maybe for now. Can I get a maybe? Trevor Ariza had himself a game the other day, didn't he? Had himself a game. Troy Brown, 4,300. I don't hate. You know, I'm not like crazy excited to play that, you know, but I don't hate it either. Glenn Robinson played, what is that? Yeah, 12 minutes against Chicago. Sweet. You go, Glenn. You're welcome. I'm just kidding. Obviously, they're going to, ease him in, do that thing. Jason Tatum is 8,400. I'm okay with it. Just kind of okay with it, though. It's about it. Just kind of, he's been balling, but everybody's healthy. And wait, is he going to see some PJ Tucker? Is he the one? Or is like Theis, whatever? Zion at 7-4, I'm cool with, but I really, really wanted if Brandon Ingram is out. Then I want it. Aldridge is 6-7. He's in trap territory where they're begging you to play him because of his price, coming off of a 50 burger against Denver. We just saw the same scenario, and he sucked ass the next day. Not saying he'll do it this time. I mean, if DeRozan's out, we're going to have to try. You know what I mean? If DeRozan's out, we're going to have to go for it because the usage is just too good to pass up at that point. Gallinari only 5,800 against the Spurs. That's a really good price for Gallo. Really good price for Gallo. Man, Tobias against the Clippers with a revenge action. 6,200 for Tobias. He went for 40 in 2 straight games. Didn't quite get there against Chicago. But he's down to 6-2 against the Clippers. I would imagine he's going to get PG or Kawhi. So he'll have his hands full, but he's shooting threes when he's on anyway. Davis Bertans has been playing minutes. His price is still decent. 5,400, 32 minutes against Memphis, 31 against Dallas, 32 against Golden State, 30 against Brooklyn. If he's going to consistently get 30, we could roll with it, especially while Thomas Bryant's out. Thaddeus Young, the minutes have been there. Production has not. But this is, I would call this a plus matchup. Man, he doubled against Philly and still only ended up with 25 DraftKings points. That's just shit. That'll make you turn away real quick. Carmelo Anthony played 33 minutes and still couldn't hit tournament value against Miami. Took 14 shots. This is a pace-up spot. Maybe he's in a position, depending on who's in and whatnot, to get more. Could be a situation where there's more opportunities for rebounds, shots, all that good stuff. So I hate to say it, but we're going to have to look at him. Hachimura has been playing really well. He got 29 minutes against Dallas, 25 against Memphis, but he's been playing well. 4,800. Mo Wagner, 4,300, playing the Bulls, a team that we know is not good against centers. He got 24 minutes. We know Bryant's out. Wagner got 24 minutes. We'll want to analyze his usage, but at 4,300, if he's gonna get minutes like that against the Bulls, that could be fun. He's power forward eligible too. Man, this shit is deep for a 5-game slate, man. Luke Cornett is, you can take a gamble. Washington's just as bad against centers. Last position, we get to centers. Joel Embiid, 9,100. What are you doing to me? Against the Clippers. Really, against the Clippers. Joel Embiid is 9,100 against the Clippers. Whiteside, 8,100 against New Orleans. I don't even think I want to play this anymore, man. This is some bullshit, man. Some straight bullshit. Montrezl Harrell, 5-7 against Philly. Harrell's minutes have been down, but they were involved in 2 straight blowouts. So 5-7 for Montrezl Harrell is probably a little ridiculous. Now, it's possible that we see foul trouble, things like that. That's a whole other story. But you're not going to want to take a shot on Montrezl at 5-7. Adams, 5-5 against the Spurs. Adams playing 30 minutes again. This is ridiculous. What is Houston going to do if they put Cantor in the game, man? Now, Theus is back, so there's no guarantee that Cantor's going to get big minutes. But what are you going to do when Cantor gets in that game, flips on the God mode, and just does dirties to your life? What are you going to do? Exactly. Nothing. I mean, you tell me what you think. I'm stopping there, man. Maybe there's more if I scroll down, but there's just so many things we just went over. And for a 5-game slate, it's loaded. It's going to be fun in all seriousness. So make sure you stay tuned for the early look. Make sure you stay tuned later on the YouTube channel for the NBA Wise stream, the show we do. It's our flagship show. Started 2 hours prior to lock. Take you up until lock to make sure you're updated with the latest and greatest on news, so you know how to react. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Late night for me, early morning to you possibly. Some of y'all late night as well by the time I put this up. If you can hit that like button, really helps us out, really goes a long way. If you're listening on iTunes or Podbean, subscribe. Do the dirty same thing on the YouTube, whatever platform you're listening on. Like buttons, subscribes, and recommendations really go a long way. So hook it up. That's going to do it for today's edition of the NBA DFS First Look podcast for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation. As always, good luck.